probably died as a result of the chemical agents, and they used the cell extraction to say, oh, we went in there and we found him dead. Because they just cut the whole chemical agents out of the equation. They're not even telling you chemical agents were used, and it's not possible for them to get to initiate a cell extraction without first using the chemical agents and the crowd control canister on one man in a room. Welcome to the Criminal Podcast, folks. I'm your host, Moliere Dimanche, and man, y'all gotta excuse me if I if I sound like I've been like throwing up or something. I just saw about 30 buzzards or vultures or whatever the hell they were eating a carcass in my driveway, and I got to walk past that to get to my studio. And I happened to take a deep breath as I was passing, and that smell just messed me all up. So excuse me if I sound like I'm just sick all of a sudden. But if you remember a few episodes ago, I gave you confessions from a Department of Corrections employee, right? A nurse. And I don't know if you were able to hear everything that she was saying, but if you caught on to what she was saying, you'll remember she was talking about the cell extractions, right? Now, this nurse was from FSP, Florida State Prison, which is another CM facility that I forgot to mention when I was mentioning the CM facilities the other day. And she was talking about how the cell extractions over there at that particular institution is how the abuse is running rampant. So she was saying that due to HIPAA, right? Like, say, there's so much I have to explain here with the cell extractions. This is there's a lot to unpack here. So first of all, with the cell extraction, right? This is done to inmates in confinement or on CM. So the cell extraction is when a team in the riot gear suits and with the riot shields and the weapons and the gas masks, all of that stuff, they come in to a confinement cell and forcibly remove an inmate from the cell. Now, this is where a lot of inmates lose their eyeballs, because they'll go in and they'll pluck the eyeballs out. And what she was saying was that there's not a single cell extraction that's ever not supposed to be recorded. So she was saying that with the cell extractions, they'll hold the camera operator will stand outside the door. Like, say, there was you think of a closet, for example, and there's a cell extraction going on. They got to pull somebody out of a closet. The camera operator will stand outside of the door and not film inside of the area where the cell extraction is happening. So she was saying that with the camera operator always doing that because of HIPAA, which I don't know how that even correlates to HIPAA, but that gives the officers free reign to go in there and abuse the inmate, knowing that they're not going to be filmed. Even while the camera's rolling, it can hear everything, but it's not going to point inside the camera to see them digging in your eyeball and plucking it out, or beating you with those shields, or whatever they do. So now, that's just one component of the whole cell extraction form of abuse. The cell extraction does not come until they've already gassed you. And this is with the crowd control stuff. So the way that use of force works is that if they claim you're creating a minor disturbance in your cell, they'll come in and they'll spray you, right? It's supposed to be 3 1-second bursts of these chemical agents. Boom, that's one application. Then they'll come back and give you 3 more 1-second bursts. of these chemical agents in the second application. Then they'll come back and they'll do it a third time. Now that's supposed to be the limit. Like, as a matter of fact, they changed the law to where now they can't even do a third application. It's supposed to be 2 applications of the chemical agents and then a cell extraction if you don't comply. Now, she was also telling you that at FSP, they're still doing 3 applications of the chemical agents. So, but that's just to let you know what it takes to even get to the point of the cell extraction. Like, they don't just boot up and go do a cell extraction. No, the chemical agents, you got to go through that whole phase first. And this whole debacle, being an inmate in confinement, watching this happen to somebody could be like 2 or 3 hours. Like, the whole, from start to finish, like from them making up this minor disturbance crap to them coming with the camera saying cease your disruptive behavior, all of that, to them actually blasting you back and forth, and then the decontamination shit. All of that stuff it's a long movie, and it's religion. So I just wanted to point that out, that she said that, because today's mysterious death is going to be about inmate Richard Iannuzzi. So, unfortunately, he died in one of these cell extractions, right? Now, I'm looking at this report, and it's only 1 paragraph, and it's full of redactions. 1 paragraph, right? Now, what I found so funny about this whole thing, the predicate starts off saying that a cell extraction, that it starts off saying that Captain Charles Combs informed the inspectors that a cell extraction was utilized to bring inmate Iannuzzi into compliance with a lawful order. That's that cut and paste language that they take from these use of force laws to try to justify this stuff on paper. That's the first thing they say. So anybody could have done a more thorough report than this. He's immediately jumping out saying, oh, the captain told me there was a cell extraction and the man ended up dead. That's how the report starts. Why doesn't the report start saying there was chemical agents applied prior to the cell extraction? Or was the application of chemical agents lawful? In this particular use for, they don't even address the chemical agents, knowing full well you have to go through that process to get to the cell extraction. So they don't specify what caused the guards to use the chemical agents. They don't specify whether that was lawful. They don't specify why he was even in confinement. Nothing. They just immediately, in this report, it goes straight to there was a cell extraction and he ended up dead. They don't talk about nothing else that happened before that. And when all of that stuff has to be investigated. And my guess is that he probably died as a result of the chemical agents, and they used the cell extraction to say, oh, we went in there and we found him dead. Because they just cut the whole chemical agents out of the equation. They're not even telling you chemical agents were used, and it's not possible for them to get to initiate a cell extraction without first using the chemical agents and the crowd control canister on one man in a room. So it starts out covered up. So it goes on to state that Duty Officer Johnson, redacted. Captain Combs received a call from, redacted. FDLE responded, redacted. And that's all it says. So then it goes into the state attorney. Now, and this ties into the last video about the K2 being used to blame the murders, because they killed this man using chemical agents and a cell extraction. But guess what they blamed it on? The K2. Wow. So the state attorney, William Cervoni, closed the case because there was an allegation that this man smoked some K2. What that got to do with chemical agents and 10 men coming in your room with shields and beating you down, I don't know. But the state attorney declined to prosecute in this particular murder because there was no, these are his specific words. The state attorney says that based on my review of all matters that have been presented to my office, it is apparent that inmate Iannuzzi died as a result to redaction. While it is impossible to say when or under what circumstances he was able to procure those substances and blank, there is no evidence to suggest any criminal responsibility on the part of any Department of Corrections employee. So the state attorney, Mr. Cervoni, says that, yeah, he smoked some K2. We don't know when or how, and probably not even if he even had some K2. But since there was K2 even in the equation, we're not even gonna talk about the chemical agents. We're not even gonna talk about the cell extraction. We ain't gonna talk about none of that. And this is at FSP, Florida State Prison. So, another one. This one starts out. I mean, it doesn't even say what happened, what was, how his body was disposed of. Because normally they'll tell you, oh, it was released to this funeral home or this particular service to be delivered to the family. When they don't say nothing, they probably done buried him on the prison grounds. These body snatchers here, they probably buried him on the prison grounds and probably didn't even tell his family that he was dead. So there's another one, folks. Richard Cervoni, who probably died as a result of chemical agents, but they're not even telling you that chemical agents were applied to them. And without a doubt, 1,000,000%, I am certain he was gassed before the cell extraction. That doesn't happen in the Department of Corrections. They don't just up and cell extract you. No, because that's the most extreme form of that's their last stop to gaining you, forcing you into lawful compliance. That's their last resort. So all of the preliminary stuff, the chemical agents, whatever everything that they did to him prior to this, that was also abusive, probably just as abusive or worse. If they didn't kill him with the chemical agents first, all of that was just cut out. And they went straight to talking about the cell extraction. They didn't even talk about if he was harmed during the cell extraction. Because remember, confessions from a ex-department employee, she says when they pulled him out of that cell, the man was in a wheelchair. That's the result of a cell extraction. So she said his face was covered in blood, and then they were still beating him while he was in the wheelchair. So the cell extraction is bad enough. We're not even gonna talk about the chemical agents. So there's another one, and they're being helped by these inspectors. I gotta identify this inspector, because sometimes they even redact out the names of the reporting inspector. You know this stuff is a blatant covered up. So I've been slowing it down with these because one of my friends told me, he was like, man, you can't always be the bearer of bad news. And I'm like, I'm just a speaker of the truth. I would rather be the bearer of bad news than the bearer of fake news. Please believe it. So I know like a lot of people probably want to see more of these, but I'm going to mix up a lot of my content to keep from being while I personally believe this stuff needs to be out there. There are people who find this kind of stuff hard to accept, but it's reality. So with that being said, please believe there's tons of this stuff to go through. But I'm not gonna just bombard you guys with death stories. You know, I'm gonna still do the fitness and the politics and the information segment. So you know, we're gonna balance things out. So we'll do it like that. Till next time.